The auditorium was silent, filled with whispers that seemed louder than the sound of 100 chattering voices. In the middle row sat a little girl with golden hair and emerald eyes, her face hidden behind strands of her hair, her shoulders drawn in as if she were trying to disappear. Her name was Claire Morgan, daughter of the world-renowned CEO, Thomas Morgan, a man whose name was synonymous with wealth, power and influence. Everyone in school knew her, not because she spoke or made friends, but because she never did. Claire hadn't spoken a single word in over 2 years. Not to her classmates, not to her teachers, not even during presentations where her silence only invited cruel laughter. She was the mute millionaire's daughter, the girl who carried an aura of mystery wrapped in pain, yet no one seemed to understand. From the outside her life looked perfect: chauffeured cars, designer clothes, a mansion big enough to swallow entire neighborhoods. But beneath it all was a silence heavy enough to break anyone's heart. A silence born from nights where her mother's absence felt like a wound that would never heal, and days where her father was too consumed with building empires to notice the emptiness growing in his daughter's eyes. And so, Claire lived in the shadows, shrinking from every spotlight. Until one day, fate brought into her world someone no one expected, someone who carried their own wounds, but refused to let them define them. That person was Emily Carter, a struggling teacher barely holding her life together. Before we go deeper, if you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the power of small miracles, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories. Emily Carter was not the kind of teacher you would expect in a private, prestigious academy filled with the children of millionaires and politicians. She didn't drive a sleek car, nor did she wear luxury brands. Her dresses were modest, sometimes old, but always neat. Behind her smile was a story of endless battles. A single mother who had lost her own child in a tragic accident years ago. A woman who had taken on debts so heavy that every paycheck barely kept her afloat. She had applied to this school not because she fit in, but because it was the only job that could cover her rent and medical bills for her ailing mother. On her very first day, she noticed Claire. While most teachers dismissed the girl as difficult, or impossible, Emily saw something else. She saw the same pain she carried in her own heart, the kind of silent grief that eats at your soul. In Claire's downcast eyes, Emily recognized loneliness so sharp it felt like a mirror of her own, and something inside her whispered that she couldn't just stand by. But reaching Claire was no simple task. Every attempt to engage her was met with silence. Emily tried group activities, gentle encouragement, even silly jokes, but Claire never responded. The other children mocked her. Some whispered cruel nicknames, others avoided her like a ghost. Emily watched as Claire's shoulders curled in tighter with each passing day, as if she were shrinking from the world itself. The weight of it pressed heavily on Emily's heart. Still, she refused to give up. She started leaving little handwritten notes on Claire's desk, tiny kind words that no one else noticed. When you are braver than you know. It's okay to take your time. Sometimes she see you. Sometimes she slipped small drawings of flowers or birds, hoping to spark a smile. For weeks Claire took the notes without a reaction, until one rainy afternoon when Emily saw something change. The class was noisy, children restless because of the storm pounding against the windows. But Claire sat still, clutching one of Emily's notes in her hand. And then, for the first time, Emily saw a flicker of something. A tear rolling down Claire's cheek as she pressed the note to her chest. That tiny crack in her wall was all Emily needed. She doubled down, not with force but with patience, with presence, with quiet acts of love. Slowly, the impossible began to happen. Claire didn't speak yet, but she started leaving behind small signs, a faint smile when Emily read her favorite stories aloud. A drawing slipped onto Emily's desk. A little sketch of a bird flying from a cage. And one morning, when Emily greeted her with, "Good to see you, Claire," the girl finally looked up, meeting her eyes for the first time. That single moment felt like sunlight breaking through clouds. But the real test came when the school announced the annual and Voices of Tomorrow showcase, a stage where students had to present something to represent their class. The thought of Claire standing on stage made the whole school snicker. "She can't even say hello," some children whispered. Teachers shook their heads, predicting another failure. But Emily refused to let that be Claire's story. She approached her gently, not with pressure, but with trust. Over the next weeks, she began working one-on-one with Claire, creating a safe space where the girl could express herself in any way, through art, through writing, through gestures. Emily never demanded words, she simply offered presence. And then, one evening as the golden light poured through the classroom windows, Claire did the unthinkable. She whispered her first word in years. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't loud, but it was there. She whispered, "Thank you." Emily's heart broke and healed in the same moment. That whisper was a universe of courage, proof that love could reach where nothing else could. They worked tirelessly, step by step, until Claire was ready, not for perfection, but for bravery. The day of the showcase arrived. The auditorium was full, parents, teachers, and children buzzing with anticipation. When Claire's name was called, laughter rippled through the crowd. Everyone expected silence, but then, a fragile little girl walked onto the stage, clutching a piece of paper, and behind her, watching with tears in her eyes, stood Emily. At first Claire trembled, her hands shaking as she faced the sea of faces. The whispers began, the ridicule threatened to drown her, but then, she remembered Emily's words, "You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be brave." And in that moment, she opened her mouth, and spoke. Her voice was soft, quivering, but every word was a miracle. She recited a short poem she had written with Emily's help, about a little bird who was afraid to fly until someone believed in her wings. Each line carried pieces of her heart, her loneliness, her hope, and as her voice filled the auditorium, the laughter faded into silence, then into awe. By the time she finished, the crowd rose to their feet in thunderous applause. Tears streamed down Thomas Morgan's face as he watched his daughter shine for the first time. For years he had tried to fix her with doctors, therapies, and tutors, but none of it had worked. It wasn't money that healed Claire. It was love. It was a struggling teacher who gave everything she had, even when she had nothing left for herself. After the performance, Claire ran into Emily's arms, whispering words no one thought they would ever hear. "Pun, you made me brave." And in that embrace, Emily realized that maybe healing wasn't about erasing wounds. It was about carrying them together until they no longer hurt as much. Claire's life changed that day. She began to speak more, to smile, to trust. And her father, humbled by the sight, made a promise to never let wealth replace presence again. He even offered Emily financial support, but Emily, with quiet dignity, refused grand gestures. All she asked was for him to always see his daughter, not as an extension of his empire, but as a little girl who needed love. If this story has touched your heart, please like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel so more people can experience stories of hope and kindness. And before you leave, let me ask you, what is the bravest thing someone ever did for you, or you did for someone else? Comment below, because your story might inspire someone who needs it today. The world will never forget the day a little girl found her voice, and a struggling teacher reminded everyone that miracles don't always come from wealth or power. They come from love, patience, and the courage to believe in someone when no one else will.